everyone, and welcome to another public Do-Mania. How's everyone doing? As you can see, the witch outfit won today, so that's what I'm wearing. If you want to be a part of voting on costume day, we have months and months of it left, like half a year. Make sure you join the Discord using the Discord command, !Discord, no space. How's everyone doing? Hope you're having a good weekend. There is a hydrate command that I will do, which is good. I am parched. Phoenix Leftist, thanks for a 250 stream streak. H. Baird, welcome back from your... you said you went on vacation, right? No, that was Robert. How do I do the name on that? And then you need to get your passport renewed. I confused you for a sec. My bad. Hey, Mr. Blast, how's it going? Welcome, everyone, both on Twitch and on YouTube. We are looking at exploitation films and scare films today from the past. It should be interesting. Lots of weird stuff ahead. So yeah, we might do some voting, but I think I'm just going to start on something of my own choice, because this is a dictatorship, and any voting is something I choose to give you. You're on a work trip? Okay, good. Because I was confused, because you said you got jet-lagged, and then someone else had also gone on a trip to the Alamo. So I got you confused in my head. My bad.
Today we are a drug-taking society.
This is a drug scare film. Turn this up a little bit. I don't know if this one has a year on it. Doesn't, unfortunately.
With alcohol by...
Boozers and users.
Crossed from junior high school through college. Is alcohol a drug? Yes, it is. According to all medical and scientific definition, it is. Any substance other than food that has an effect on the mind or pellets, or like alcohol, in liquid form. Specially organized to deal with the problem of the teen.
And I'm an alcoholic.
Oh my god, why did they cut out half the frames in this?
Adorable. Aw, isn't she cute?
It didn't take much to make me feel high, and I used to like the way it made me feel and the attention I got.
Isn't she adorable? She keeps drinking.
I used to look forward to these parties.
Alcoholics Anonymous estimates.
I'm sorry, was there a big rash of people giving their children alcohol in the 70s because they thought it was funny? Like, they were like, haha, let's get our kid drunk, that'll be hilarious.
That there are more than
I genuinely had not heard of this being a problem.
twice as many teenage alcoholics as there are heroin addicts of all age groups in this country.
I really got into drinking when I found I could sneak drinks and get away with it.
Marsha.
So I've been drinking ever since I was 7, 6 years. I also got into barbiturates for a while when I was about 10, but I really got hooked in alcohol. I like the feeling better, especially from wine and beer. When I couldn't get enough at home without my parents catching on, I'd use my allowance, or money I'd steal from my mother's purse, and either get some grown-up wino to get me 2 pints, and I'd give him 1.
She's a child wino, which is much better.
Or I'd wait
more miles left on the liver.
For some nice guy to believe that my mother was too busy or sick to go shopping, and she'd appreciate if he'd buy a 6-pack of beer.
Nothing hits you when you're sick like a 6-pack of beer. This, too, is a problem.
Sometimes I'd even
Just a peach.
get them to buy me that strawberry or apple wine the same way.
Oh, God, she had braces.
Wines like strawberry or apple wine may not be too popular with adults, but they are with teenagers.
I'm Jeff, and I'm an alcoholic.
Just imagine if he could see today with all, like, not even just, like, they're basically alcoholic sodas are everywhere. I don't drink, as you all know, because I'm, like, a recovered alcoholic. Luckily, it's been many years since I drank at this point, and I don't miss it. But, man, they got some fruity-ass drinks out here these days. You kidding me?
Hi, Jeff.
You know, I think I began to enjoy drinking. Not the taste of drinking, but getting drunk, since the first time I tried it. My friend's sister was a stewardess, and she'd bring home these miniature whiskey and wine bottles. I remember the first time. We heard about scotch, so we mixed it with milk.
Oh, scotch and milk. We call that the brown Russian. Polysaturated lipids, thanks for 36 months. This sub-baby's name is going to be Jack Daniels.
That we really like.
Oh, the whiskey milk. Don't drink the whiskey milk. Ah! I think the milk is the bigger crime here. Don't why just drink it. Listen, kids shouldn't drink. Kids shouldn't drink. But if they do, I think the milk is the grosser thing here. Like, you can drink milk, but just drink the whiskey. Don't mix it with you're gonna curdle it. You're gonna curdle the milk.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
Hey, Sophie.
You like it? Later on.
See, I hate eggnog. I don't like eggnog. Even when I was an alcoholic, I did not like eggnog. It was just gross.
We experimented
Don't mix your dairy and your alcohol. I'm just not a fan of it.
more, but he liked the taste of bourbon, and I became a Scotch freak.
Actually, a lot of younger kids are into alcohol because it's easier to get than grass, especially for kids.
About a year ago, my parents found out that I was drinking. You should have seen how glad they were that it wasn't marijuana or some other drug.
That's kind of sad. You don't want your kid doing drugs at all, but if they are, I feel like the alcohol could kill you if you overdo it. The weed is going to make you like an idiot if you're doing it all the time, and it's going to make you like not being focused on what you should as a kid, which is your education and development. But like, it won't kill you most likely, at least not on its own, if you were to drive or something, of course. But you know what I mean.
Really, that's what happened to me. It's not uncommon for uninformed parents who themselves drink to feel a sense of relief when they discover that their children use good old familiar alcohol instead of something they don't understand and self-righteously refer to as some drug.
Oh, good. They're actually going to rally against that. Good.
Unfortunately for these parents and their children, they don't know that alcohol is the biggest drug problem this country has ever had to face. As is frequently the case, parents who themselves are abusers of alcohol don't always tell their children of the psychological and physiological dangers of alcohol dependency, alcoholism. Very few know that the physical damage caused by alcohol abuse is greater than that of any other drug, including heroin. And how many adults know that about 1 out of every 15 people who drinks ends up as an alcoholic or as an excessive drinker, or that it
Price
takes
is not higher than that. Maybe it's because I'm in the Midwest, and like in the Midwest, like alcoholism is a way of life for so many people. Like, you would be shocked at how many people in the Midwest are just straight up alcoholics, functioning or no. It's just so common.
about 5 to 50 for the average excessive or heavy drinker, technically hurt or destroyed. Obviously, there are parents who drink occasionally and have no reason to fear that they are on the road to alcoholism. But these parents would be wise to consider that not all people are lucky enough not to develop a drinking problem.
Mommy, can I have your olive?
Oh,
The fact that young people see older people drinking is frequently the reason they start to drink themselves.
This saturated alcoholic olive. Why are we torturing the, like, again, they shouldn't be drinking, but don't. It's only slightly worse than the whiskey milk, or slightly better than the whiskey milk.
It's like smoking
Not an olive person.
the drug nicotine. How many young people have started smoking just because they've seen an adult smoke? What teenager isn't bright enough to know that breathing in smoke can't be good for you? Especially when it's been established that smoking can be a contributing cause of lung cancer
Agebird says, Mommy, can I eat the mezcal worm?
and heart disease. Nicotine addiction is so strong that even with all this knowledge, tobacco is still this country's second most widely used drug.
Damn, can you believe we almost defeated the tobacco companies, and then they were just like, what if we make it fruity? And all of a sudden, like, we went backwards decades on our progress with reducing nicotine intake. Beautiful thing. Beautiful, beautiful thing.
The third most widely used drug, even though it's illegal, is marijuana. As most of us know, marijuana is a drug, not a narcotic. However, unlike alcohol and nicotine, marijuana is a controversial drug. For example, there wouldn't be too much controversy about this statement.
I've been drinking for years, and it hasn't hurt me.
And there'd be even less controversy about this statement.
What's the big fuss? Cigarettes yet?
However, there is controversy, and also
I like that they made the cigarette smoker a cowboy.
Any differences of opinion about
It's too soon to know about the physical effects of marijuana.
Every idiot knows that marijuana leads to other drugs.
Richard, there's absolutely no proof that marijuana leads to other drugs. It just isn't.
Denise, marijuana's not physically addicting like hard drugs.
Well, marijuana may not be physically addicting, but sure, it's psychologically addicting.
Oh, Denise. Hey, man, enough marijuana can really mess up your head.
Come on, man. Marijuana just give you a mild psychedelic trip with no after effects.
A mild psychedelic trip.
Even your own mother would know.
Why? I guess, I understand in theory at, high doses, edibles can be, psychedelic to some extent, but I do not understand from, the 70s and stuff, them describing, normal weed that you smoke as psychedelic. What, are we doing different drugs? What happened? Why are they describing it like it's LSD, or if it was, mushrooms?
Would you want your 15-year-old sister to smoke grass?
No, I don't, but I don't have the right to stop her either.
Anti-marijuana laws are too soft, too permissive. What we need are stiffer penalties.
Oh, come on, Steve. The laws, any laws about marijuana are not only dumb, but paranoid. Marijuana should be made legal now with the same controls we have for alcohol.
What do you think? And before you decide, what about these opinions?
Look, people who smoke marijuana don't tend to business.
The funniest bit was right after he said that if I had reached over here and grabbed a joint that I had been smoking.
They just goof off. They don't have any strong goals. They just kind of drift through life.
That's ridiculous. There's nothing wrong with marijuana in itself. It's just like alcohol or any other drug. Some people can't handle it. They get hung up on it, right? Okay. I do my work just as well as any of you so-called straight people.
You goddamn straight people. Was that ADR? Oh, yeah. That was ADR.
No. Man, I can't see where there's anything to argue about. Marijuana would be a terrible drug
This is not ADR, but the guys on the ski lift were.
to legalize. I think it would be bad for society and bad for the individual as well. It'd be adding another drug to just a list of drugs that's too long already.
If that's the case, I don't think it's fair for marijuana to be against the law and alcohol to be legal, especially when alcohol has done so much harm to so many millions of people.
Nerdy, thanks for a 95 stream streak, says, when you have an awesome thing you want to tell the world about, but technically you can't tell anyone yet. Ominous. Broha, thanks for 39 months.
Oh, no.
So much for the 3 most abused drugs in America. Next on this drug abuse list are all the millions of pills swallowed for kicks and escape every day. A lot of them stolen out of the family medicine chest. Millions more prescribed by the family doctor and abused by their patients. And millions more picked up from so-called friends. Not the old-fashioned pusher in those old-fashioned comic books and films, but the friends with a hang-up on pills who needs to sell them to earn bread for their own pill-popping needs. And last but not...
I'm just trying to earn some bread, man. Also, why don't they take the pills? If they just need pills, why are they selling pills to get pills? They have the pills to sell you. So why would they sell you the pills to get money to get pills if they have the pills to sell you the pills?
Obsolete as yet, the professional pusher who can be found anywhere. It would be too obvious to hear all the familiar details about what's wrong with pills that don't cure a thing.
Well, good luck with whatever thing is happening.
Pills like barbiturates that when you least expect it create a dependency, where the withdrawal without the help of a doctor can be fatal. Pills like amphetamines that can blow your mind and your body, even though you were sure it...
See, that's funny. Amphetamines that I'm prescribed just make my brain function.
...couldn't happen to you.
Thanks, Ritalin.
Most enlightened...
I haven't had it in a while, but you know, when I do, it's nice.
...doctors refuse to prescribe amphetamines now. It's unfortunate that most of us have grown up in a world that discovered pills and so-called miracle drugs. So that it is hard to accept the idea that pills can also do harm, especially when not used for what they were intended. The important question should be, can one find lasting happiness through chemistry? Now, we all know that you can die from a heroin overdose caused by your body needing more and more every time you use it, and that you can die when it's not pure, and especially when it's 10 to 20 times purer than you thought and becomes an automatic overdose. And speaking of dying, let's not forget lung cancer from you-know-what, and cirrhosis of the liver from you-know-what, too. If facts and only facts mean something to you, how about the fact that more people will die from
The strobing fact over Graves goes pretty hard. I respect whoever made that editing decision. Nearest Crowhill, thanks for 41 months, says, 41 months now. I guess I didn't get last month. What are we doing today, Hannah? Also, I may not be on long, currently volunteering at a horse show. Oh, fun. Hope you're having a good time. We are doing scare films and exploitation films today.
effects of either tobacco or alcohol this year than from heroin-connected deaths. That is, unless there are some drastic changes in the lifestyles of millions and millions of Americans. Changes in which this is not taken as proof of sophistication or proof of masculinity. If the high cost of living means something to you, it's been estimated that the drug problem is costing you, through losses in business, government, and industry, from $5 to $10 billion a year through absenteeism, inefficiency, wasted materials, and the expense of training replacements. $5 to $10 billion a year that gets passed on to all of us in higher prices and taxes. With alcohol as the #1 troublemaking drug on a rather long list of drugs. Now let's see what happens when the teenage excessive drinker has become an adult alcoholic. Let's discuss this problem with the Director of Industrial Services at the Alcoholism Council of Greater Los Angeles, Mr. Weldon Butterworth. Mr. Butterworth, with the cost to...
I'm sorry. I know this is serious, but his name is Butterworth.
Industry being so high, why doesn't industry itself do more about the problem?
Well, Jim, some companies are doing a great deal. But unfortunately, there are those who still have no programs to help the employee with an alcohol dependency problem. They still continue to think of the alcoholic as a specific type and an automatic candidate for Skid Row, not understanding that Skid Row alcoholics are only 3% of the total number of people suffering from alcoholism.
That leaves 97% of the other human beings who are obviously worth the effort of rehabilitation and control of what is judged to be an illness by the medical profession and other enlightened people, enough for it to be covered by leading national medical insurance agencies.
Well, companies who do not have an alcoholism program seem to be operating under an old-fashioned social stigma type of thinking about alcoholism. You can almost imagine them dictating this policy to a secretary.
Miss Smith, take a memo. This company will pay an economic premium for the successful concealment of alcoholism from management's attention. This monetary reward will be paid in terms of job security, promotional opportunities, and fringe benefits. But...
a scummy health insurance professional. I wonder... Try to tread lightly here. I wonder what could be done to resolve this situation.
If an employee's alcoholism reaches the stage where it can no longer be concealed from the casual observation of management, no matter how valuable and irreplaceable this employee may be, the services with this company will be terminated immediately. Miss Smith, read that back to me.
Sir, this company will pay an economic premium for the successful concealment of alcoholism from management's attention.
It would seem that our top executive feels that he's immune.
Being self-employed, he may be immune to the effect and warning in the memo, but he's not immune to alcohol. One of the biggest problems is the waste of manpower at the top management levels. After many years of education and on-the-job struggle to get to the top of their industry or profession, frequently at the peak of their value to their company, thousands of men are lost to alcoholism each year.
Well, Weldon, it would seem to me that it would be good dollars and cents business to recognize the job performance warning signs of alcoholism and alcoholism itself in time to do something about it.
Well, each year, more and more enlightened business organizations are initiating alcoholism programs to identify the early warning signs and to help the alcoholic get treatment. Incidentally, this alcoholism program also helps discover those with a drug problem as well.
What a person snorts, sniffs, or smokes, shoots, drops, or pops, eats or drinks, is their own personal business. But when it affects their job performance, then we have a justifiable concern. We started this program as a people program to help our people, to help their families, to deal with the problem effectively, which was formerly causing us a great deal of difficulty. It has turned out to be exceeding.
Getting people help for addictions is a good thing, but I feel so conflicted about it being done as a line item because it leads to loss of efficiency if your employee is an alcoholic. Like, it's one of those things where, like, okay, good to help them, but your motive is skeevy. I don't know how I feel about that.
Exceedingly good business. We have achieved over 70% recovery. We have literally rehabilitated executives for pennies when it would have cost thousands to fire them.
With millions of people employed by the government, members of the armed forces, the government is the largest employer with the largest payroll of all. We can see how important all types of drug abuse can be to all of us who pay taxes.
Jim, the drug and alcohol problem in civilian life, like in civilian life, we have the contact and are expected to live with people in what could only be described, feel the need to prove their manhood, and one of the ways they do this is by drinking. Need to use alcohol in order to relieve anxieties about being in an unfamiliar situation. Along with this, we have peer pressures, which are exercised by other problem drinkers, all of which tend to encourage drinking situations. Now, you add to this the boredom, the loneliness, the unfamiliar surroundings. Our people are away from home, and all these things have their effect. What started out for some people as simple, harmless drinking has suddenly become something else. It's become alcoholism.
Oh,
for
God!
About 8 to 12%.
Drinking the mouthwash?
Drink kind of early, aren't you?
Okay, no, that's just his alcohol that he happens to have at the sink. Okay.
Rough nighter. Just need one to get me going, you know? Klein, you want one?
No, man. That's too early for me.
Hey, Morris, how about you?
That's too early for me. For anybody.
We have developed programs in the military.
Yeah, I saw that. Will Kale, the village one of the people from the Village People, says YMCA isn't a gay anthem. I want to show the scene. I can't, but there's a scene from the Village People movie where they play YMCA, and it's basically a music video for YMCA, and it's incredibly gay. Like, I just can't with that guy.
Similar to those in industry, in which we have emphasized the need to reduce the situations that I've described that produce pressures to drink, Jim.
It is encouraging to note that various military and industrial programs report a 50 to 75% recovery rate for alcoholism. And I guess we would all agree, alcoholism is alcoholism. The individual reasons may be slightly different, but the results are the same. The reasons why people drink are frequently the key as to whether they remain social drinkers, become excessive drinkers, or become alcoholics. The social reasons, drinking because of the occasion or because your friends do, are the most common reasons for young and old. However, there are certain warning signs that help detect the difference between the casual social drinker, the excessive drinker, and the alcoholic.
I think squatting in an alley to drink is maybe a red flag. I think things are bad. I spend a lot of my time squatting in alleys drinking with my buddies.
What are the warning signs? One of the most significant signs is when there is a pattern of needing a drink to do anything that involves overcoming nervous tension or working up courage to do something.
Wow, man, I mean, it's only a party.
He drinks for courage.
I mean, you know almost everybody in there. So what?
If I only had the know.
Had a drink or two first. Just to relax, man, just to relax.
He is uncomfortable when alcohol is unavailable.
We're going to be late. Why do you have to start mixing yourself drinks now?
Because those squares never serve cocktails before dinner. Besides, I like a drink before dinner.
A drink?
Well, maybe two.
2 drinks? 2 doubles, you mean? What you call getting fortified for the worst, right?
Right.
I got it. Right.
Fortified for the worst, right?
Right.
How do you even direct an actor to perform that line that way? All right, we want you to say it like you're in the middle of having a stroke.
call getting fortified for the worst, right?
Right.
Oh, there's the wife in Manos. I didn't notice.
She has guilt about drinking. He will be lying about drinking.
All right. I'm gonna have a very dry martini. First one all week. What are you gonna have?
No, not for me. Been on a wagon for a year now. I'll just have a milk.
Oh, that's incredibly sad. Dirty says, I don't drink, but the one time I tried when I said I didn't like it, a friend said, that's why you keep drinking, so you stop noticing. I wasn't quite brave enough to point out the problem with that argument. Yeah, that's, not great. Hey,
He
Amber.
has memory blackouts.
Where am I? What am I doing in this cab?
Sir, are you driving the cab?
Driver, where are you taking me?
Oh, I thought he was blacked out and just, like, came to as he was driving the car. Oh.
Hey, listen, buddy. You held me in front of the Pink Penguin and told me to take you to the base, right? Yeah, okay. Okay.
Alcoholic?
She is irritated when drinking is discussed.
Me, Doctor? You must be out of your mind. I may drink a little more than your average housewife, but that doesn't make me an alcoholic, Doctor.
Oh my god, how did they get my mom for this?
With him, it's changing from one drink to another. This gentleman used to drink large amounts of beer, but denied he was an alcoholic. When physical symptoms, work, and family problems, when this made no difference in how his work and family life went, he decided his fluid intake was still too high, and, you guessed it, he switched to straight bourbon. She has morning after tremors.
Oh.
To her.
Here's the terrible thing, too. I don't mean to, I'm not trying to be depressing. To be clear, I am in a good place now. I have not drank in years. I'm very happy about it. But, recounting my own issues, since you guys know, I've been doing internet stuff for like over a decade at this point. I was working at home during the time that I was a severe alcoholic. So, like, let me tell you, when you're an alcoholic and you work at home, you basically do this shit. You wake up and you get a fucking drink. And maybe because it's earlier in the day, you do like a cider or you do like something lighter. But then, you know, throughout the day, it gets harder and harder stuff. It's awful. It's an awful existence. And I want to say, if there's anyone listening to this who is in a cycle of like, this is the last time I do this, this is the last time I do this, this is the last time I do this, you can actually stop. You can, I promise. I did it. It's possible.
The morning after drink is a must.
There's only $18 and some change here, Sal.
For him, memory blackouts are more frequent and more severe.
I have to go to the market. Where's the rest of your paycheck?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Hey,
how many paychecks can you keep losing like this, Sal? You know how important every dollar is to us.
I'm sorry. But I don't remember what happened. To tell you the truth, Linda, I don't even remember getting home.
You don't? Do you realize you came home so drunk you could have killed yourself and any other poor person that got in your way?
I didn't have time to do it.
His schoolwork deteriorates.
You had the entire weekend. Everyone else completed their assignment except you.
Once again, that same lame excuse. What's happened to you? You used to be one of my best students.
Nothing.
His work deteriorates.
Look, Lonnie, it's not that you're late all the time, but it's the quality of your work. Hey, look, if you don't like my work, and I don't like this funky job, maybe I ought to quit. Hey, no maybes about it. Quit. Because no one...
I thought funky was good.
...is indispensable. Not even you.
Danny, would you please stop now and come to bed?
In a minute.
There is deterioration of family relations.
Yeah, no, I didn't do a 12-step thing.
In a minute, you'll be passed out like every night.
When I feel like going to sleep, I'll go to bed. Now, will you please bug off?
That is another weird thing with alcoholism. You want to stay up as late as you can and drink? What's up with that?
Dad? Dad?
What?
No, you didn't get up, Dad.
In a little while.
Daddy, you promised to take us to the zoo, remember?
Not today.
You promised.
I don't feel well.
'Cause you're drunk and you have a hangover.
Get out! Get out! Both of you!
Oh, God.
Oh, they got my dad for this, too.
Yes? Oh, God. Because as an alcoholic parent, he has increased the possibility of his children becoming alcoholics to 80%. The percentage of alcoholics who have had alcoholic parents. Except for unimportant details, the warning signs of alcoholism are basically similar for the young and old, male and female, who develop that particular type of drug dependency. How do you prevent a dependency that does so much
makes
harm
sense,
to so many
uh-huh.
millions of people
Yeah.
every day? One way, at least, is
And
to
that's how
believe
you end up drinking all night and going to bed at 5 a.m. and waking up at 3 p.m.
that it is possible that what has happened to so many millions of people can also happen to you. Does he look like a potential alcoholic? Does he? Does she? Does he? Does he? Does he look like a potential alcoholic? Did she look like one? Did he look like one? So what happened? Informed opinion has it that drug abuse starts with an emotional or psychological need. So it would seem logical to get professional help as soon as you can, while it's still a problem of dependency and not of addiction. It would be self-destructive at any age not to do so. Here are alcoholics who have hit bottom. They
Oh, they're selling their plasma. I used to do that, too.
literally sell their own blood to get money to buy another bottle.
The thing about selling your plasma when you're an alcoholic is the less plasma you have, the easier it is to up your blood alcohol content level, too. It's like a bonus. You get money for the alcohol, and it's easier to get drunk because you have less fluid in your blood. Hot bees, thanks for 100 bits.
Of what quite appropriately is called slow suicide. How really different from you, from me, are they? Can you imagine them as children at play? Can you imagine what their parents' reactions to them would be now? Does it look like either one of these two ever remembers their childhood days again? Would any one of these people stop or never start their own personal form of drug abuse because of the facts about nicotine?
I like the visual here. They're like running down a hill. I assume at some point they won't be able to stop as like a metaphor for addiction. That's a good visual metaphor. Does it say who the host is? It does not.
Uppers, downers, cocaine, quaalude, heroin, etc., etc. Just because of the facts?
The title of this, I believe, was Boozers and Users.
Plain and simple facts. And when these plain and simple facts won't do, what will?
That's a pretty good one. Like, unironically, that one I think pretty well, like, it was dramatic. But overall, I think it painted a pretty, like, fair picture, at least, of alcohol and how bad it can be. All right, let's see what movie we're gonna watch. It's gonna be an exploitation film. What one do I want to do? Should we do a vote? Maybe we should do a vote. We will do a poll on Twitch. So here are the options for the movie. I'll go over them as I'm typing them in. So we have Chained for Life, which is a film from 1950 starring an actual pair of sisters who are conjoined twins. It's actually the same conjoined twins who are in Freaks, a film by the director of Bela Lugosi Dracula from 1931. Blanking on his name for a second. Don't tell me. Why am I blanking? No! Someone can tell me. Anyway, it's a movie about one of them falling in love and getting married. So a lot of it has to do with, like, oh, what's it like to be a conjoined twin? And that one is called Chained for Life. Let's see, the next one is called The Sin of Mona Kent. This is about someone moving to New York City, and things start going wrong for her, and she gets into the seedy world. This is also, there's a narrator, and it's the same narrator that was the classic Price is Right announcer. So, number 2 is The Sin of Mona Kent. Choice 3 is The Wild Women of Wongo. Wongo, it's basically an island, but all the islanders are, like, white people, but they're all dressed up in, like, loincloths and stuff. It just looks really silly. I don't know how to describe it other than to show you some of the, like, still frames, like, oh, someone's fighting a sea creature. Oh, there's, like, women dancing in like, leopard skin, whatever. So that's Wongo. And then High School Caesar, which I talked about before. It's about, like, a greaser kid. High School Caesar. All right, vote in this poll, and we'll see which one we watch. It's going to be a minute long. Nemesaur, thank you so much for gifting 10 Tier 1 subs to the community. Harold Elbelman with 40 months says, so for 40 months and 40 odd moons did the Elbelman enjoy the content of the Hannah, wandering through the chuds and the tinfoil and assorted public domania deep in the desert of the real, the book of parasocialism, chapter long-standing weenus pun, verse 20. That was something. Holy crap. All right, what's winning? Sin of Mona Kent is winning, surprisingly. Okay, oh, it's kind of moving around, though. Chained for Life. I thought Chained for Life was going to absolutely destroy it. Because they were pretty good in Freaks. Did anyone ever tell me the name of that guy, by the way? I did forget. Damn it, why am I forgetting? Can't vote on mobile? That sucks. Mona Kent was a TV radio writer? Oh, okay. Todd Browning, thank you! The Sin of Mona Kent. Okay, wasn't expecting that one, but here we go. This is from 1961. The Sin of Mona Kent. Oh, we're also on a hype train. 4% to level 4 on the hype train. I'm gonna move past the song because the movie is in public domain, but the song is not. That's a weird thing that happens sometimes.
America, it's more of the square, Broadway, the pulse, the heartbeat, the main artery of the theater throughout the world. To millions of young girls throughout America, it's more than a place. It's a symbol, a state of mind, a way of life squeezed into a tiny square-mile pinnacle of light bulbs and people. A shiny, gaudy beacon atop the world of the theater. A beckoning, coaxing Lorelei to the stage struck everywhere. In endless numbers, by every means possible, they flock like moths to the elusive candle of Broadway success. A dream that sometimes does come true.
Dick's Steakhouse and Bar.
I'm Johnny Olson, and here at my table, just a few blocks from the Carnival Dazzle of New York's Times Square, each week I dig into a story of Broadway people. The hard ones that Broadway can't hurt. The soft ones that it pushes around. Or the brittle people who are smashed into 1,000 pieces against its hard pavements.
Mona won because Roddy has an amazing voice.
Today, Broadway adds another chapter of tragedy, of drama, comedy, or just plain color to its sometimes glowing, sometimes dingy, almost always exciting history. Tonight, it's the story of Mona Kent. Now, if you read today's newspaper, you know who Mona Kent is and what happened to her. It's a story that should give a moment's pause to every girl who wants to make a career of Broadway.
But I don't know what happened to her. Who is she? I'm not from the 60s. I wouldn't be born for 33 years. The distance between this and my birth is more than I have been alive.
Should, but it probably won't. Seated at my table here this evening, I have Eddie Logan.
Hello, John.
And Jerry Roberts.
Hi, Johnny.
Eddie and Jerry, I understand that you two fellas can tell us something about the early career of Mona Kent. And Eddie, I think you knew her first, didn't you?
Yes, I guess I did.
Minute left in the hype train.
John, it didn't start with Mona Kent. It started with a girl named Elvira Kowalski.
Yes, it started with Elvira Kowalski and a small farm in Banksville, somewhere in the Middle West.
So this is supposed to be like a biography picture, basically. This is supposed to be based on true events. Stone Corbell, thanks for gifting a sub, 26% to level 4. Appreciate the support.
Like always, it started with a dream. And as so often happens, the purveyor of dreams, Santa Claus, the good fairy, the magic genie, managed to take the form of a postman.
I can't read it at all. It's the New Stars for Broadway contest, and there's definitely text there that you're supposed to be able to read. But yeah, that's not readable. That's not legible. Oh, Jesus! It's so bright! How could I even begin to read this? Oh, if I go this helps, actually. Weirdly, this helps. We are happy to... Why is that how it is? I don't understand technology enough to know why, but when you go a down angle on the monitor, it makes it easier. We're happy to inform you that you have been selected as one of the winners of our New Stars of Broadway contest and would like to appear in a special theatrical introduction to top Broadway producers. Okay, we got it. She won a contest and they're sending her to Broadway.
And a simple letter becomes a magic carpet to Baghdad on the Hudson. Of course, doting parents with small savings accounts often supply the fuel for these threadbare carpets. And Elvira's mother and father managed to scrape together enough to get her started towards her big chance in New York.
Broha says Mona Kent is the main character of the 1966 Broadway musical Dames of the Sea. For those that don't know, Broha is my brother-in-law, and he's living up to the gay stereotype of knowing Broadway things, so thank you.
She left for the big street with a parental blessing and a large portion of the family savings secure in the knowledge that her career was on its way.
I like the stereotypical 60s, 70s hustle and bustle city music. It's always this. Who invented this style of music, and why is it hustle bustle city music? So I'm gonna explain the semiotics here. What the fuck is going on with this? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Why is this city music? This is the music of the stuff happening in the city. People going to and fro, you know? blame Disney. Is this the fault of the Schwartz brothers again? Moved, no forwarding address. Scammed. Fun fact, my grandfather was actually scammed in a contest similar to this back in the day. He's a musician. Yeah, he was in a contest, I guess, and won like a thing to go get a record contract, and it turned out to be a scam. Very sad.
Elvira's newfound dream was brought up sharply and suddenly by the reality that promises are not always kept, and people are not always honest.
He still has the newspaper clipping of him and his band winning the contest, and the newspaper clipping says, like, oh yeah, they're gonna get sent, like, to New York to do a recording, and blah, 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 blah. And that didn't happen.
And Elvira was out 100 hard-earned farm dollars. Her first thought was a logical one. New York City was no place for a girl alone.
To be clear, he has been playing music his whole life, so worked out. He's very fine, but...
Especially since she'd never been more than 20 miles from the farm before. A telephone call to tell the folks what happened. 3 days ride on the bus, a few days of I told you so's, and Elvira Kowalski's brief theatrical career would be ended for all time. That did it. Maybe it was the for all time. Maybe the I told you so's. But right then, Elvira made up her mind to stay in New York. She'd come a long way to get to Broadway, and now it was only a few blocks more.
I demand you put me in a musical right now!
Through the years, thousands of young girls coming to New York for the first time almost automatically gravitate to Greenwich Village, partly because it's a cheap place to live. Apartments are cheaper.
How much is an apartment in Greenwich Village these days? Chat, is Greenwich Village a, quote, cheap place to live?
Living expenses are lower than anywhere else in the city. But there's more to it than that. There's the excitement of the day-to-day living in the village. The community spirit that makes it a small town in the middle of the city. To some, perhaps, it's the end of the line. To others, it's a beginning. It just depends on which way you're headed at the time. To most outsiders, Washington Square and Greenwich Village are places. To them, Washington Square is a small park, and the village a geographical part of the city of New York. But of course, they're wrong. Greenwich Village is an image, and the square its symbol. The casual visitor sees only the surface, enjoys only the ever-prevailing carnival atmosphere, delights in the sidewalk art with the great bright splashes of color, and the wild, frenzied business of their seemingly unformed patterns. The insiders think differently. They are part of the village, and most of them have one thing in common. Their dreams, either of the unborn future or the dead past.
Yeah.
Elvira found it easy to let herself slip into this prevailing trance. But for the moment, she found it necessary to obscure her dreams with the miasma of reality. First, she had to find a place to live. Now, like most of us,
obscure her dreams with the miasma of reality goes harder than it should.
Started looking for what she wanted without regard to what she could afford. Oh, she liked what she saw, all right, until she saw the price tag. Elvira was getting her first hard lesson in basic Manhattan economics. But somehow, just walking through the streets, watching the people, Elvira was becoming part of Greenwich Village. In spite of the circumstances, being here gave her a sense of comfort, almost of well-being. But she still had to find a place to live. If Elvira had kept her mind on finding an apartment, maybe she could have done better. Oh, she could justify it all right. After all, she was looking at houses. But most of them were private homes, like the one with the gaslight over the old cobblestone street. or the one that was half a room wide.
These days, that half a room is going to cost you $3,000 a month, utilities not included.
Then the gray frame house with the yellow shutters and the kids playing in front. On a tree-shaded street with a big lawn, it could have been the mayor's house in Banksville. But with the newness, the strangeness of everything around her, she could easily put home out of her mind. A couple of times she wanted to stop and look in the shops, but finding a place to live came first. After that, there'd be plenty of time and cooler feet for the hard, hot pavements. Some of the clothes weren't exactly what she'd expected to find in New York, but a friendly animal population made her feel at home. Right now, Elvira was feeling that Greenwich Village wasn't really...
Was this movie an excuse to try and use as much stock footage of New York as they could find in order to cobble together a film? Because I just realized, so far, like, 60% of the movie has been stock footage of New York with a voiceover?
Much different from Banksville. Oh, there were strange-looking buildings and strange-looking signs, and even strange-looking people. But
don't say that. Don't say that.
It was a community, and Elvira wanted to become part of it. But every time the spirit moved her, the price stopped her. It was beginning to be a discouraging business. And then she'd stop and watch the dreams go by. A pushcart full of old ones on their way to the junkyard of memories, or fresh, bright new ones set to the rhythmic beat of hope. But for Elvira, hope was waning. Oh, she was beginning to find a few places where she could afford a month's rent, all right, if she gave up eating. But each time she was ready to give up, she'd go back through the streets of the village, get caught up once more on the perpetual carnival, and start out again. Probably Elvira didn't know it then, but she was suffering from an acute attack of village fever. The itinerant artist painting a lovely girl's portrait, the writer, musicians, actresses, the models, dancers, and poets. They all know that someday their dreams will become reality. Sometimes they're right. But Elvira still needed a starting point. And in her case, it meant a place to live. Obviously, this wasn't it. Perhaps a day of apartment hunting there made Elvira of the village. Anyway, like most things of the village, she automatically gravitated to the center of its whirlpool of activity, Washington Square.
These movies, I'm never gonna get the bongo out of my head. I swear there's one decade where bongos were featured in almost every song. And all of them are on this show for some reason.
You know, it's a funny thing how sometimes a brief glance, a casual look between two people, can change the whole course of both of their lives. It does happen. Oh, sure, Elvira managed to concentrate briefly on a couple of wags cavorting for the benefit of two disinterested girls, but her lack of interest matched theirs. Then she watched a group of people try to outsmart a small monkey with no visible signs of success.
Where did you get this monkey? Don't own a monkey! Don't own monkeys!
Finally, she gave up and turned her attention to her newspaper. Now, under the circumstances, the move turned out to be a wise one, as Elvira found an important ad she'd missed. At least then it seemed important to Elvira. Somewhat later, 4 other persons would find that ad was even more important to them.
People voted for the title and
But
it's not
immediate
delivering.
effect was
I
to
would
set
agree.
Elvira in motion. And in a small chain reaction,
I'm hoping we get into plot soon.
Eddie Logan took off after her.
Either we're getting into plot soon, or I'm going to have another vote that decides if we continue with this or move on to something else. Because so far I've seen 0 sins.
have been something to attract your attention so quickly.
No, it wasn't that. It was. I didn't look at her as a real.
I'm pretty sure Mona Kent is Elvira's, this lady's stage name.
Person, just sort of
like, I think it's her.
A moving object. I liked the way she moved.
Well, what about her roommate? You know, the girl who advertised to share the apartment. Did both of you fellas know her?
Oh, yeah, we knew her. But I guess Eddie knew her, or rather knows her better. What about it, Eddie?
Yeah, I guess it did turn out that way. But in the beginning, John, I didn't know Janice at all.
Probably, but still not her. Well, I assume it's an actress playing her. Supposed to be like a biopic or something.
And thus ended Elvira Kowalski's first day in New York. Only one more month.
You got an apartment in one day? Not even in a day. In like half a day, she found and got an apartment to live in.
To Times Square. But the distance from Greenwich Village to Times Square isn't usually measured in miles, or even in blocks. It's measured in time. And Elvira Kowalski still had a long way to go. In one day, she had managed to become part of Greenwich Village. She'd learned already to feel its color, excitement, its music, its closeness to the arts, and its own special arts. Tomorrow, she would start out to become part of Broadway.
At least an actual scene happens in a second.
Eddie tried half-heartedly to ignore her, but it didn't work. Elvira had at least three things going for her. In the first place, she had no intention of being ignored. In the second place, she was a better chess player than Eddie. And in the third place, Eddie hadn't the slightest intention of ignoring her.
Harold Edelman, thanks for a 7-stream streak, says, Broadway is dull in this. Way too expensive to live there now. Greenwich has creepy dudes, bunch of old men wishing and young girls dreaming, waiting for their time to shine. That's the best I can do in a hurry. Sorry. I don't know what to sing that to.
And that's just the way it worked out.
Google says this is how the whole movie is. Boo!
Not bad.
All right, we're gonna do a vote. Move on or keep watching this. Hold on, let me do the poll. Because I don't want to assume. All right, vote in this poll.
Do?
I'll do? What do you mean I'll do?
Space?
Oh yeah, that's not even close already.
I'm gonna paint you every conceivable way till I get the one that's just
Oh,
right.
no, you won't. I'm an actress. I'm not a model.
No, don't worry about it. We'll show. I've been watching the way you look, the way you walk. It's kind of a melody.
I've never heard that song, Harold Edelman.
Huh? Now then, take off your clothes.
Oh yeah, Move On's winning like crazy, so we're gonna move on, because that one is boring. Sorry about that. Okay, so we'll go with the second place winner, which I believe was Chained for Life. Check this one out. Tell us what happens to her, at least. She goes on to be a Broadway star, and they end up making a bad movie about her. And then the movie starts again. I wasn't literally describing what happened in the movie, Lucas Dawn. That's what happened in real life. I don't know what happens in the movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to see you here. You came to be entertained, and to forget your troubles. I know there is always some misunderstanding between husband and wife, parents and children and sweethearts, and everyone thinks his or her problem is always the greater. But I think after you hear this story, you might change your mind, and the things that appear grave to you now will diminish and fade away. It is the story of Vivian Hamilton, accused of murder and being tried before me, Judge Mitchell, without a jury. Of course, the prosecution has painted Vivian Hamilton as a cold-blooded murderess, a woman without a soul. But we have yet to hear her side of the story.
I bet you're wondering how we got into this situation.
May proceed.
Your Honor, we have heard up to this time nothing but the damning evidence the prosecution has brought forth. We have offered no defense, nor do we intend to do so, until you have heard the real story. Vivian Hamilton.
Who did these captions? They're auto captions, I think.
Will you now tell the court in your own words your story as you lived it?
Yes. We were such a happy family. The Gordons, Sardo, Del Rio, the Benedettes, Ross and Kennedy.
I gotta see if that buzz goes away. No! Let me see if there's another copy of this, because holy shit, that buzz is gonna kill me. Sorry today's so jumpy all over the place. I'm really trying not to do this. One of those days. No, not that one. Try this one.
Oh, you.
Oh, good. I think this one. There we go. This copy's fine. Thank goodness.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story of our
To this time.
may proceed.
Your Honor, we have heard up to this time nothing but the damning evidence the prosecution has brought forth. We have offered no defense, nor do we intend to do so, until you have heard the real story. Vivian Hamilton, will you now tell the court in your own words?
Oh, I'm wondering if, I didn't realize if the captions were like this on the other one. It's probably that they got a text file of the script and just pasted it into the thing, not knowing that the script was slightly different. That happens sometimes with captions, is they'll straight, like, copy the script and then the wording is slightly different in the movie.
Story as you lived it?
Yes, sir. We were such a happy family. The Gordons, Sardo, Del Rio, the Benedettes, Ross and Kennedy, Whitey Roberts, Tony Lavello. We've always been the headliners, the Hamilton sisters. It was during rehearsal that our manager, Mr. Hinckley, sold an idea to Mr. Mackenzie, the theater owner, and he...
Every hour of every day, every minute that you're away, I keep thinking of you. Have my coffee and coffee cake. I pour coffee for two, just as I did with you.
What a strange time in history where if you were born physically different, it was basically, hey, you better learn to entertain people. Otherwise, we're gonna put you in an asylum. Not that that was explicitly said, but that kind of seems like the vibe. If you were physically different in this era, you were either, like, in a freak show or part on some sort of entertainment circuit where people exploited you to pay money to come see you, or they put you in an asylum. One of the two.
Every evening I set your place as it used to be.
What if I do want a lobotomy?
Imagine I see your face. Smile.
Oh, I got a tip. Sorry, I missed the tip. Let me see where that is if I can find it. Oh, maybe they didn't do it right now. I just got it, though. Weird. If the person who sent me a $15 tip is here right now, thank you very much.
Every hour of every night, I keep dreaming.
I'm skipping the song numbers, too, because holy crap.
Bravo, magnifico, bravissimo.
Great, ain't it, Mackenzie?
Well, it's a good routine.
Good routine? Listen, with that act and a little smart publicity, your theater won't have enough seats to hold the audience, Mac.
Andre, when did you get in?
Today, I was sent for special. Each time I see you girls, you look more wonderful. It's incredible.
Each time I see you, I can't believe it either. After that riot in Memphis, when your mental act backfired, I thought you'd given up your career.
Oh, that was just a mental lapse.
Look, Ted, you're asking me for a percentage deal, but all you're offering is conversation. There hasn't been a trick we haven't tried before.
Except one. That's why I sent for Pariso. Come on, let's go to your office. Come on, Andre.
Voi siete un angelo del cielo, signorina.
None of your foreign remarks.
Oh, but I was talking about angels from heaven.
What a weird thing to say. Speaks in French. None of your foreign remarks, Frenchie. Speak English. This is America. Oh, okay. They're xenophobic. That's unfortunate.
Heaven.
Angel.
Now, Mr. Mackenzie, will you tell the court exactly what happened?
Well, I remember. It all started as a publicity stunt for the show.
The theater
Italian,
business had
sorry.
fallen to an all-time low. I knew I had an exceptionally good bill, but it still didn't help. I was ready to listen to any proposition. Hinckley sold me the idea.
All right. You put an SRO sign on my box office, Hinckley, and you got yourself a deal. But how about the girls? Will they go for it?
I'm their manager, ain't I? Just leave it to Hinckley.
Oh, say, Mac, I happen to be a little low this week, and since I've been engaged, I was wondering...
Sorry, Andre. You know our policy. No advances. Besides, I didn't send for you.
Well, then who did?
I did.
Oh, you. And how about you lending me $100 till payday?
How bad do you need it?
Bad enough to ask you.
I'm not gonna lend it to you. This time you're gonna have to work for it. In fact, an extra 100 every week.
What's the pitch?
Romance, right down your alley. I just dreamed up a little publicity stunt for the girls. And I'm gonna need somebody to play, Romeo.
Oh my god.
$100 a week.
They're oh god. They're gonna pay him to romance the sisters. Great. Although he already was? So like, you're paying him for something he was already doing? I guess?
Vance.
Bring on, Juliet.
That door hasn't got an usher, and you got hands, so knock before you come in. There's such a thing as privacy.
From burlesque to privacy. Look, honey, that body beautiful of yours has been reflected off too many front row bald heads, so now all of a sudden it's Mabel.
That's not how any of this works. Just because someone is a performer and shows their body in a performance, or even if someone's a sex worker, doesn't make you entitled to their bodies in general. Wrong with you?
The modest maiden.
During my career, burlesque was an art. My act had dignity.
Dignity? Look, kid, One more bump, and you'd have been right out of the theater. Where are the girls?
In there. Hey, girls, the 10%er is here. Oh, look. This isn't the wide open spaces, and that's no lily of the valley. Why don't you smoke a good cigar?
After the day, Mabel, after the day.
What's it all about?
Girls, from now on, it's mink and Cadillacs, just like I said. Leave it to Hinckley. When I got through with Mackenzie, he couldn't wait to say yes.
But?
But? What do you mean, but? Did I ever tell you a story? Did I ever tell you a lie? Did I ever... Well, look, this isn't very serious. It's just a little publicity stunt.
The last publicity stunt he pulled was when he buried that Swami. But
okay, at least they're in on it. That's fine. I thought they were gonna trick them into thinking he, like, was into one or both of them, and then, like, lie. That's good. At least they're in on the cynical bullshit. That's okay. I'm gonna get some water real quick. I will return in just a moment. Chair has me!
Hadn't been for the fire department, they'd have never dug him up.
Burials, burials. What are you talking burials? This is an engagement. We're going to get married.
Just a little publicity stunt. Nothing serious, eh? I've heard enough. Hinckley, you must be out of your mind.
Out of his mind? For 10%, he'd bury his own mother-in-law.
Now, look, girls. Calm yourselves. Nobody's really getting married, and good publicity never hurt an act, especially for only $100 a week.
Viv, maybe he's right after all. This is show business. I knew you'd come up with some crazy idea. But this one might have possibilities. By the way, who's the groom?
Andre.
With all the men in the world, why did you have to pick on him?
Who else would have done it?
Count me out. I'm not the romantic type. Well, I guess from here on, my love story begins.
Just leave it to Hinckley.
Leave it to Hinckley. Well, if it all blows up, I can always go back to Minsky's.
Well, at first I didn't think it would work, but Hinckley's idea proved to be a winner. The newspapers lost no time in covering the announcement of the engagement, and to give a smile to space.
What a strange bit of news. Did you know conjoined twins exist? And one of them's getting married!
And pages of publicity.
That sold papers, huh?
Closer together, please. Put your arm around there. And your chin up, please.
A little more to the left, Miss Hamilton. Chin up. That's it.
A trifle more now, just a trifle. What we want is a great big smile. You should be very happy, Miss Dorothy.
What's going on? What's all this about? Stand back. They're taking pictures, can't you see?
Oh, I'm sorry to be late. I'm from the Examiner.
You're just in time. Go ahead.
Good. Well, ready now? Kiss your fiancé, Mr. Pariso. Hold it. Still.
Well, I really want to congratulate you. You too. I want to wish you the best. I know they always would. Good luck, Henry. A lot of happiness for both of you.
God damn, everyone just munches on cigars in this movie. Just constant. What does SRO stand for in this context? I gotta look this up, because I know he mentioned this earlier, but I don't know what that actually means. Let's see. SRO meaning. Oh, standing room only.
SRO. Just leave it to Hinckley.
Yeah.
And I was practicing a little juggling I got so I could do 3 pretty well. You've been so nice, I'm gonna try it. Jealousy. Wait, I'll fool him. You wait a minute. You know, applause makes some jugglers nervous. Doesn't bother me a darn bit. There you go. Watch this one. This is the hard one.
I'm glad the internet exists, or else I'd probably be doing this for a living.
Oh, isn't that awful? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, for goodness sake. It's getting tougher. There, I got it. Oh, murder. Throw me another plate here, will you, George? Just one, so that's it. Very good. There, we got it. Wait a minute. Oh, how do you stop this thing?
I lost my third juggling ball. There is a juggle command.
Don't laugh, it ain't funny. Now, wait a minute. Hold it. Oh, did you see that? Now, do me a favor, orchestra. Play me enough music to get me from here over to there, will you?
Where could it have got there? Spider got it. That spider's dead. I killed Spider. They're dead. Oh my god, how much is this showing people's fucking vaudeville acts? Is it sad that these things are also props I own? I have that accordion somewhere. I'm vaudeville annoying.
How's it all going, girls?
Just too good for words. You ought to see
There's my
the
giant
show,
cigar.
Couldn't get a seat. The SRO
Ha-cha-cha.
That's why I came backstage.
Ha-cha-cha.
I guess he said it was okay.
That
Hurry
comedy.
Up, we're almost done. Why don't you wait and join us after the show?
I can't tonight, girls. I've got a date. I'll just stay on the wings and watch. Okay? Good luck.
Oh my god. That accordion is Weird Al's dad. Oh, thanks, Brain Squish. That's nice. That's cute. Thank you, Brain Squid. I'm excited. Jesus Christ, get to the movie. Oh no, they're gonna do a song too. They're gonna do a song. And then there's a magician act. Holy shit, they were so lazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, a little bit later on in the act, I'd like you to see some very unusual rifle tricks. Right now, a little pistol.
Oh, are they gonna do the bullet catch? Oh, it cut to the end. Isn't that what I wanted? They went, and then there's the magician.
Miss Hamilton, is it not true that you and your sister Vivian quarreled violently over Andre Pariso?
Yes.
Would you
rumble.
Say those quarrels arose out of your sister's antagonism toward the deceased Andre Pariso?
There were no adjustments in our relationship we couldn't make. But after our quarrels about Andre, all our rules meant nothing.
Now, I'll bring you your black wrap.
No, I don't think I want that one. Get my green wrap, Mabel.
What is this, a quick change act? Why don't you make up your mind? I've brought you everything in the trunk.
You know, I think I'll go shopping tomorrow. I haven't a thing to wear. Now, look, Dottie, this is the first time you've worn that dress. You forget, I'm engaged. I can't be seen in just anything, Viv. Wait a minute. You're not taking your publicity seriously. I hope you're not falling for that sharpshooter. Well, what if I do like him? He's shown me what living really means. Dottie, you are in love with him. Yes. And
Why are the captions so weird? It can be a variety of reasons. It can be because they pulled him from the screenplay and the wording was changed somewhat through to the final product. It can be because they pulled it from a translation. So it's like the captions from another language translated back to English sometimes.
He's in love
There's a variety of reasons it could be like that.
with me. You don't know what you're saying. You can't buy happiness. Maybe you can't, if you're trading for even money. But I can afford to be shortchanged. Don't forget, I'm 35. Come on, Viv, we have a date. You have a date. If I have a date, you have a date too, my dear. Yes, with Hinckley.
I loved the sing, and with love you're playing. Never trust a gypsy with your heart. I was just a stranger.
I just want to see her murder the guy.
Unaware of danger in a gypsy tavern in my heart. A gypsy read my hand and promised untold. How could he understand that when I crossed his path?
That sure was a great house we played to tonight. Hinckley's no fool. His idea really worked.
Can you tell I'm not a music person? I want narrative. If I want a song, I'll put on Spotify.
We sure have been packing them in.
Who is we?
Why, Dorothy and me. Oh, and you too, of course.
Where do you come in?
Why, I am the groom.
In that case, any man would do.
You forget, my dear, not everyone has my charm. That's what brings them in.
Who do you think you are?
Oh, I beg your pardon. Girls, it's unbelievable. Look, I just balanced the receipts. Dorothy, Vivian, Can you imagine the money we'd have made if we could have packed the crowds and we turned away? It's terrific. It's colossal. And I'm going to raise your salary 50%, Henry.
Oh, shit. That's a lot of money back then.
Not bad at all. Why separate payrolls?
Did you really think we were one? We have separate bankrolls, separate accounts. We've always led separate lives. And I spend my money as I please.
Look at this. Mind you, that's Monday. But wait. Tuesday, we almost doubled the receipts. It's terrific. And Wednesday, we broke all records. If we'd only had the Hippodrome.
Oh, you.
What? Is she hiring him
You're
for
a door.
intimate work?
Will you marry me?
Jesus. Ooh, crackly.
If this is for publicity, your timing is off. I don't see any photographers around. Vivian, Andre just proposed. For the same price, or do we get a discount? Since he may be in the family.
Oh, no. It'll cost you more.
What?
Well, haven't you heard Hinckley say he raised my salary 50%?
But Dottie, you're not. You can't be serious. Oh, yes, I am. We are getting married.
Hooray! Congratulations! That's the
In
best thing
fairness, I kind of get her apprehension. Like, it's one thing if your sister just marries a guy that you don't like. She has to be there all the time. Like, she has to be with him too, basically. Not, like, really, but, like, she has to be in proximity. Ugh. Are they supposed to be sisters? They're Siamese... Or, sorry. Conjoined twins. I apologize. I sincerely apologize. Conjoined twins.
Could have happened. Waiter! Waiter! Champagne! Did you hear that? They're getting married. Renee, what a break! They're getting married.
What is your name? Your true name?
Irene Anders.
In the theater, you were known as Renee.
Yes.
You were Andre Parisso's assistant.
Yes.
Isn't it true that you were more than that?
Yes. I was in love with Andre. We had planned to be married, and we would have been if it hadn't been for Dorothy Hamilton. He
She
was
can
in
negotiate a
love with me.
four-way relationship. Who's the fourth? They're actually conjoined. The twins are actually conjoined. They were in, I mentioned it earlier, but they were in a movie called Freaks, Todd Browning's movie, which is really good. If you want a movie that is about, like, performers, some of whom have a lot of physical differences, watch Freaks. Don't let the title, like, push you away. The movie is very much on the side of the performers as they get mistreated by the normies. I would highly recommend Freaks. I really love that movie. Gooble gobble, one of us, one of us. Unfortunately, there's no full cut of the movie because distributors cut the movie up and took all sorts of stuff out. They've been able to piece together a pretty good cut of the movie, but I think there's still about 30 minutes missing from the original cut, unfortunately. But it's still very watchable and enjoyable, even in its current form. H-Bird says, how big of a diss would it be if her sister wasn't her maid of honor?
Nice technique, Andre.
My dear, the true artist must give his all at every performance. You know, this profile of me isn't bad at all.
Well, while you're making headlines, I'm getting the brush off. The only time I've seen you since this thing started is on the stage.
How does that even work to be intimate? I imagine... I don't know, because, like, earplugs at this point, like, if it were today, I'd probably say some sort of privacy screen if possible. If you're side by side, maybe you can figure something out. And maybe, like, earphones and, like, a blindfold, and you just kind of tune out. But, like, in this time, you can't even have headphones. It's just got to be earplugs. I don't know. Uncomfortable either way.
Dear, you should consider...
Maybe you just get used to it? I don't know. I don't know.
You're very fortunate. Think of all the people who come to the theater just to see me and are turned away at the box office.
Oh, tell it to Mackenzie. He might appreciate the big attraction.
Do people still say dis? I don't know. I'm over 30. Don't ask me. I don't know what's hip.
But it's the Hamilton sisters that are getting the percentage.
Percentages have a way of seeking their own level.
Oh no, he's a flat earther.
That, my dear, is a basic law of supply and demand. But I have already started collecting our share.
What did you do?
Okay, so he's marrying one of the conjoined twins, but really is with this lady. Okay.
Matizer.
Charm is the word, Renee. Charm. And as you see from this photo, the subject is quite susceptible.
Well, what am I supposed to do while you're teaching her economics? Join a Lonely Hearts Club?
You're not eligible. Yet. Now run along, my dear.
Why don't you turn out your light, Dottie? I can't. Not yet. Good night.
This is probably a very personal question that I would never ask a person, like, IRL, but she's not here, and they're, like, you know, probably passed away at this point anyway. I wonder where they're connected. Is it, like, the hip? Because I assumed it was higher up, but the way she actually kind of, like, twisted around implies it's more hip to me.
Hello.
Hello.
This is for you. Listen.
Used at the hip and buttocks.
I'm yours forever, no longer free. I'll leave you never. Have faith in me.
This guy's a scumbag.
You are the one love my heart adores, and
I wanna push you around. Well, I will. Well, I will.
You are the one love.
This does remind me at this point of the plot of Freaks, because it involves what would be considered typical for the time, people taking advantage of physically different people and using, like, their affections towards them against them. This is basically a ripoff of Freaks in loose plot structure. It even has, you know, the same two women who are the conjoined twins. They were in Freaks.
And I will be forever.
Excuse me.
Good night, my darling.
Hopefully it's the same ending. Yeah. I don't want to spoil the ending to Freaks, but it's like, it's up there in terms of, like, karmic justice endings for a villain. It's pretty good. Is Freaks public domain? Not sure about that. Because it was after... I guess it could be if they didn't renew their thing on it, but it was produced after Dracula. And Dracula's not in the public domain yet. Sometimes things like this that we're watching right now do fall into the public domain because of they didn't renew it or other legal issues. But usually they're not until a certain year, so I don't think Freaks is public domain yet. Interesting, using a double as like a scene about, oh, what if I was free? Freaks will be public domain in 4 years. Yeah, and I think Dracula and Frankenstein will be in 3? We're gonna have some good public domain days when that happens. My plan is going to be doing Universal Monster movie marathons, starting with Dracula and Frankenstein, and then every year for like decades, basically, a ton of new Universal Monster movies will be coming out, so every year the marathon will get longer, is my idea. So. Have you watched Plan 9 from Outer Space? Not on stream. We tried to, but YouTube was being a butt. That is public domain, but someone kept trying to claim it on YouTube. So I might have to do it on Twitch at some point.
Darling, I love you.
Andre.
I feel like leaving the hook off like that back then, the operator would get mad at you. Was this not a time when you could just pick up the phone and get the operator? This was 52. I don't know. There was a dial tone, so I guess she would have had to dial. Because there was a time back in the day when you'd just pick up a phone and the operator would be there and you'd be like, hello, operator. Like, there was no dial tone. It was just, you pick up a phone and there's a person that you have to tell who to connect you with.
Dottie, what is it, darling? What is wrong? I've been dreaming. I can't go on. Don't you think I know how you feel? I wanted love too. All our lives, we've had to bury every normal emotion. I'm not a machine, I'm a woman. I should have the right to live like one. We've always said we were like other people, yet different. From the moment we started to crawl, when the leg of the table got between us and we couldn't pass, we knew. Yes, I remember. But we decided that our physical bond would never be our cross. But we've been successful. We've reached the top in show business, and there isn't a thing we can't have, except happiness. We fooled ourselves that by entertaining others, we were making ourselves happy. But I never stood in your way. No, but always together. On dates, parties, nightclubs. I want to be free. Now I know that the only way I can be happy is to be alone with a man I love.
This is the weirdest prequel to Basket Case I've ever seen.
Free? But we've always been together. And we'll be that way forever. Not forever. There must be a way. There must be someone who can help. Then, remember? Dr. Thompson, separation.
Basket Case is on Tubi. I would recommend Basket Case. It's... I don't know if it's my favorite Frank Henenlotter film. I like Basket Case 2 the best, probably, out of the Basket Case trilogy. And, there's some other movies by him that are pretty good, too, but I enjoy Basket Case 1. It's a very trashy film that's an interesting time capsule of New York at some of its, like, grittiest, greasiest, grossest. Would recommend.
But Dorothy... No. We've been prodded and examined like guinea pigs since the day we were born. This is my life, too. And I have a right to live it. Yes, you have that right. But what good is it? Nothing you do has any meaning without love.
Basket Case 2, by the way, has one of the best wet puppet sex scenes in the history of cinema. So if you want to watch two disgusting wet puppets get it on, watch Basket Case 2. It's also replayed at the beginning of Basket Case 3, but it's better in Basket Case 2.
How much can love demand from us? Remember the two brothers? When one of them died and the other had to be separated? He only lived a few days. We wouldn't have a chance. I don't care. I'd rather be dead than go on like this. You really love him so much. All right. Let's see, Dr. Thompson.
But of course, never have a set of Siamese twins been operated on while both were alive.
Really? Okay, so is this before any sort of separation had ever been successfully done or even attempted? Wow.
If this operation were to be attempted, it would have to be done in 3 stages. The first 2, quite simple. Separation of the muscles, cartilage, and bone. Severance of the blood vessels would be no problem. The girls have different circulatory systems. Even the blood types are different. But the third will be difficult.
And extremely dangerous. Successful separation of the nerves of the spinal column would be of great aid to science, but it might result in death. In this case, I would say the prognosis is unfavorable.
Dr. Eckhart, what is your opinion?
These two girls cannot live apart. Although they have two distinctly independent minds, they have been conditioned since birth to live as an entity. In my opinion, their separation is not feasible.
That's a terrible reason. There might be physical reasons it's not feasible, but don't just say, well, they're used to it. Like, I'm sure it would require a lot of adaptation and therapy, but oh my goodness, don't just say, no, they're used to it.
When I examined the girls a number of years ago, the mere mention of doctor was enough to disturb them. Only a great emotional stress has brought them here. Dorothy's desire for marriage. This will not be easy. Miss Manning, will you have the girls step in?
Yes, sir. The doctor will see you now. Will you come in, please?
Oh, I didn't mention this because I mentioned it yesterday that the internet bill was due. I did pay that. I mentioned it on the Discord, but I didn't. Internet bill is paid, so thank you for everyone who did tips helping get the internet paid so I can continue streaming through the next week. It is paid. Thank you, everyone.
Dr. Eckhart, Dr. Hurd, and myself have discussed your case at great lengths. And we want to tell you that we admire your extreme courage. But I'm afraid there's very little hope.
Then there's nothing you can do.
As a woman, I understand thoroughly. There is nothing to keep you from getting married. There's no reason why you can't have children, as you are. My advice to you is get married.
I guess there's nothing left. It's your happiness. Go ahead. Get married.
You think you remember how it ends? This just reminds me of an episode of Tales from the Crypt. There was an episode of Tales from the Crypt with a somewhat similar premise that involved conjoined twin brothers, and one was a scumbag and one was a pretty decent guy and fell in love. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a pretty good twist ending in that one that's maybe a little predictable, but the reveal is great. So I would recommend that episode. Just maybe Google Tales from the Crypt conjoined twins episode. All the Tales from the Crypt episodes are on YouTube. They really shouldn't be, but the show's in like legal limbo hell space, basically. So it is all up on YouTube. I don't think officially. I just don't think they've brought it down.
This is unheard of. If somebody had told me, I wouldn't have believed it.
Neither would I, but it's a fact.
What's the matter with those monkeys?
I don't know.
Don't call anyone that.
We got it?
Yeah, Joe
We got
Pesci's
it all
episode's
right.
good. That's another one with
In the
twins. Not conjoined, though.
I sent for you because you asked me to get Dorothy a marriage license. Here's the result. 27 different states have denied you the right to marry.
But why?
What?
I don't understand.
I'm baffled myself. They gave no...
Are you fucking kidding me? Are they considering it like polygamy because the sister's always there? Even though that's not... Like, they don't want her to be there. She doesn't want to be there.
No reason.
They say it's bigamy.
I knew it. These fucking people. What the fuck?
How dare they? I'll sue for damages.
For what?
Why, the implication. Me, a bigamist.
Look, Dorothy, where there's a will, there's a way. I'm going to send you to a friend of mine. Maybe he can see a way out. His
That's
name
absurd.
is Dr. Burnham.
Doctor?
No, he's not that kind of a doctor. Here's his address.
After Republicans squeeze all the outrage they can out of trans people like myself, I'm wondering if their next target is going to be, like, poly people. Which, again, not a ton of poly people relative to the overall population, but, like, Jesus Christ, I feel like they always have to have someone to attack. So if they ever ring out the trans issue to the point that no one gives a shit, I don't know. It's either going to be furries or poly people, and they already fuck with furries, so...
Hello. Dr. Burnham, please. Thank you. I'll wait.
This way, girls.
Who is it, Martha?
Oh, there's two young ladies to see you. This is Dr. Burnham. We were referred to you, Doctor.
Oh, yes. Well, I hope you won't mind if we chat while I plant this bush. There's a bench right over there, and Martha, why don't you fix us some tea?
Of course. Thank you, Doctor.
That old bench is a little shaky. Must fix it sometime, but the garden seems to take about all of my time. Martha objects, too. She says I spend more of my time on my flowers than I do on my sermons. And perhaps she's right. Though I must say my congregation doesn't seem to suffer for it.
They're twins.
Yes. Nature sometimes permits twins to blossom from the same bud.
He's blind.
You make it sound as if nature were granting a favor.
Oh, no, my dear. Nature never grants favors. What she does is with purpose and meaning. Every living creature is a part of her pattern.
What purpose?
I don't know, man. I think you're ascribing an order to the universe that doesn't exist. We're all biological nightmares.
Purpose can she have in creating this?
He hasn't watched enough body horror, apparently.
When every other thing is an entity by itself.
It is not easy to understand God's mysterious ways with patience. But I'm afraid mine is just about gone now. This string simply won't come untied. Oh, thank you. Children, I think I understand your bitterness, but you must relieve yourself of belief in limitations.
But the barriers raised before us are very real.
Faith can overcome even these. You have been forced to live together constantly.
That's why we came to you. I want to get married, but the officials have refused me a license. They say it would be bigamy.
Why, that's bigotry. There can be no problem of moral or social wrong unless there is an intent of immorality.
I want to say based, but I'm concerned at what he considers immoral intent. I'm a little worried he would not be okay if the people in the relationship weren't the same race or religion. Whatever, though. We'll take it as a W. We'll take it.
You shall marry the man of your choice. And I feel quite sure that in God's eyes, your marriage will be hallowed.
Ashley One Up says, these ladies aren't the best actresses, but I've seen worse. I've watched Ed Wood movies. I don't think they're bad for a B movie of the time. The quality of the acting isn't very good around this era in general. And honestly, at least they're actually conjoined twins. You know what I mean? They could have so easily just gotten two other women and like strapped a belt around them and made them act like they're conjoined. So like, respect for actually having conjoined twins play the characters.
Reverend Doctor, the tea is ready.
Oh, yes, we're coming.
Though I would argue that's also probably where the exploitation comes in of like, we don't view it this way today. I don't think any of us are watching this and going like, wow, conjoined twins, because like, I don't know, just like, who cares? Like, they're just people. But I would imagine at the time part of this was sold on like real conjoined twins. That's usually how exploitation works, as it tries to, you know, advertise the scandalous thing in the movie, and for the time that would be considered that.
Would you lead the way to the house? You see, I don't have my eyes with me. My dog is in the hospital. And now don't worry. I know about your problem. I'll see that you get a license.
Is this better or worse than Stuck on You? I haven't seen Stuck on You. It looks terrible, but I've never seen it.
You are familiar with the weapons Andre Pariso used in his shooting act?
Of course.
Do you recognize this revolver?
Yes. It's the one that Andre used in...
Where else did you see this gun, and in whose hands?
In Andre's, in his dressing room, the night that he showed me the marriage license that he got with the help of Dr. Burnham.
You see, I got it. Here it is.
You're not going through with this.
Why not? Who's going to stop me?
Me. Suppose I told him the truth.
About what?
About us. It might spoil your marriage.
You wouldn't dare.
Oh, I'm gonna assume she actually kills him, but the twins get blamed? Or one of the twin gets blamed?
Don't forget, I use real bullets. Accidents can happen. I can miss. Oh, don't be foolish. Haven't you seen our new building?
Wow, he just threatened to shoot her in the face.
The second spot. And it's only the beginning. Soon we'll be the headliners. Now be a good girl and get dressed. And don't forget, be at our wedding after the show.
Come in.
Darling, after the show we'll get married. Everything is set.
I'm so happy.
Oh, even the mayor promised to be at our wedding.
I raised the prices and they're still fighting to get in. It's fabulous.
Look at this. Look at the headlines. I just wish this theater was Madison Square Garden.
What theater? I thought Dr. Burnham was going to marry us at the little church.
It's ridiculous. This is the chance of a lifetime. Do you realize the publicity we're getting? Every official in the city will be here.
How is it we knew nothing about it?
They're gonna marry him on stage? Ew.
No time for explanations. And after all, wasn't Dorothy eager to get married?
Yes, but at least we should have been consulted.
Well, what difference does it make when
Yeah,
we
maybe
get
don't
married?
make a joke out of their fucking life. Oh my god.
We're show people.
Hamilton sisters, on stage.
All right, let's leave them alone.
Now let me have one look at you. This is a big show tonight, girls. Yes, I think you look fine.
Wait, what? Why was that the impressive part? I don't understand why they all went, ooh, when he did that. That was the least impressive thing he did. He just twisted the handlebars around and walked around them. What? What? I'm so confused. Oh wow, the standards for bike tricks back in the day were real low, right? Oh, that one's good. Say what you will about attention spans, but if you did that today, it would be a 30-second TikTok. And it would be over much quicker. And a unicycle when? I wish I could unicycle. I can pogo stick real good.
Say, is it new?
5 carats.
Wonderful, Andre. Diamonds, too?
One time on my pogo stick, I got to 1,000 jumps, and then I was in so much pain the next day, because I don't know if you know this, using a pogo stick is a lot of energy if you do 1,000 jumps. My legs were in a lot of pain.
Good going.
Oh my god, fuck, it's a tiny bicycle. Can we just get back to the plot?
This is the most unusual night in the history of the Bijou Theater. Over 2,500 guests will witness the marriage of Dorothy Hamilton to Andre Pariseau. They chose this stage because they're show people. The number of civic and social leaders present are too numerous to mention. But whether you're a social leader, a civic leader, or just plain Jane and Joe, we're happy to have you with us tonight.
We are gathered in this company to witness the joining together of this man and this woman in holy matrimony. Into that state, these two persons have now come to be so joined. Unless anyone can show cause why you may not be so joined together, I will now proceed. By the authority vested in me as a justice of the peace.
Do you, Andre Pariso, take this woman to your wedded wife to live together in lawful matrimony? Do you, Dorothy Hamilton, take this man to your lawful wedded husband to live together in lawful matrimony? Will you love him, comfort him, honor and keep him?
I really wonder if she'll be
by giving and receiving a ring.
She sure deserves it.
I do now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride. Congratulations, sir. Much happiness, my dear.
Thank you.
Good night, girls.
Good night, Mabel.
I like his robe, unfortunately. The cool
Come
robe.
in.
Not for me, but like on a guy. Like, I'd like to see Rod Serling in that robe. Does that make sense? Fade to black. Oh my god! Conjoined twins deserted by groom on one night. What a dickbag. Just the robe and nothing else. He'd still probably have the cigarette. I think he would have the cigarette.
Yes, I feel pretty bad about that price.
Rotten, I call it. But I'll get busy and have that marriage annulled.
Yes, you can do that all right. But it's pretty hard to mend a broken heart.
Yep.
That's a dirty trick the way Andre played Dottie. I can't figure why he did it. She's such a swell girl.
I'll tell you why.
Because he's a scumbag.
Because he never loved her.
Vivian Hamilton, will you now tell the court what happened after Andre Pariso deserted your sister?
The show had to go on. We did our act as though nothing had happened. Until...
Never say you'll fall in love. You like dreaming of a cozy cottage, and in one night that you had stolen.
So much sing. Can't believe they kept him on at the theater. How did they not fire him after that shit? Like, there are other musicians, you know, or magicians, rather.
A
They
little
could
bit
find
later
another
on in the
magician.
act, I'd like you to witness some very unusual rifle shots. Right now, a little pistol work, if you please.
What are we watching? It's called Chained for Life. It's an exploitation movie from 1952.
What's the rush, Viv? Why don't you snap out of it, Dottie? You didn't do a thing with our act tonight. I know it, but I can't help it. Look, sister, You don't think you're the only woman that's been jilted by Andre? No, of course not. It wouldn't be so bad, but I still love him. And that's what really hurts. Don't let him know it, Dottie. Smile. Put on a good act and smile. I'll try, Viv. Let's change and get out of here. No. Why? Not yet. I want to watch Andre's act. Oh, all right.
Was vaudeville still popular in 1952? Not to what it was earlier in the century, but it still existed. Like, the remnants of what vaudeville was kept on until, like, the 70s, as it kind of had a little revival through stuff like variety shows. So there were still, like, vaudevillian performers at this time, for sure. Was not as big as it was, before, like, movies became huge, and talkies became huge. But, yeah, they existed. Oh my god, just die already.
Now for this next trick, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to use a mirror. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that the act you're going to see performed on this stage tonight is the only one of its kind in the entire world. I am going to use these rifles to play that organ.
What? Obviously that's a trick. You can't shoot at a piano and play it. I've not actually seen a ton of Buster Keaton. I've seen, like, bits of his, but I've not sat down and watched a full movie. So I'm guessing blanks in the gun and a trick organ? This is the climax, by the way. See, that's crazy to me, Drew, because I feel like TOS actually holds up pretty well in terms of pacing for a show that old. Quite action-packed for a show from the 60s. There's always stuff happening constantly, there's quips.
Quiet, please, quiet. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm gonna guess that this is like an old trope, but I'm assuming maybe this is where the trope comes from, actually. I don't know. Is it gonna be we can't find her guilty of murder because then her sister would have to go to jail and we can't jail an innocent person? Case dismissed. Lobsters, bring in, dancing.
When there's been a slight accident. Music.
And that is the truth, the whole truth.
Judge is going to have a tough time making a decision in this case.
Honor. There probably has never been a more unusual case presented in any court. Nor has any court heard so much testimony irrelevant and immaterial. In a deliberate attempt to arouse our sympathy, the defense has taken us backstage into the life of the Hamilton sisters, deliberately ignoring the fact that we are only here because murder has been committed. The state is not concerned with the involvement in the lives and loves of the defendant, her sister, and the murdered man. It is only concerned with one question. Did or did not Vivian Hamilton, with premeditation and in cold blood, shoot and kill the deceased Andre Pariso?
Have you considered he had it coming?
The answer to that is yes.
He had it coming. He had it coming. He only had himself to blame. He had it. If you'd have been
admission.
There, if you'd have seen it, you would have
I
done
therefore ask the
same.
court to bring in the only verdict possible. Guilty. Guilty of murder in the first degree. I thank you.
I don't feel like that's, well... She was pissed off, but I don't know. She didn't say she thought about it, but it could only be thinking about it. From what I've learned, premeditation can be like minutes before. It doesn't have to be a long time, so maybe. You know that song from Glee instead of the original musical? You watched Glee and you can't watch TOS. The downfall of American civilization was never more evident. In fairness, I like Glee.
Your Honor, the
Mr. Shu was a really bad teacher, wasn't he?
state has built a case against Vivian Hamilton, which is punishable by law and applicable to all human beings. The prosecution demands
Everyone in your
the
room started singing with you? Why am I more self-conscious knowing that you are in a room with other people watching me? That doesn't make sense. There's like 100-something people watching me right now, but knowing that you are in a room, not alone, but with other people makes me nervous? That's weird. I should bring that up in therapy sometime.
extreme penalty. When it comes to punishment, the law...
Third-party viewers. Yeah, it's like I'm part of a social interaction, which is no bueno for me.
demands equality. But the fact is, the law has never considered them as equals.
Oh, what now?
They have been denied
Oh, I see.
marriage.
He's right. Okay, I get it.
Children, love.
There are 3 of you, and I'm on a 55-inch TV? That's horrifying.
Oh, no.
Why would you do that? Why am I in a TV? Oh, God!
Normal human fulfillment. Do you know how
I'm no
the
longer
Book
visible.
of
We did
Knowledge
it.
defines them?
We did it. Look at my big
As
hand
monstrosities.
lines. Does anyone read
Your
palms?
Honor, I ask you.
There you go.
Are they monstrosities or are they human beings? Has the law ever protected them? No. But when it comes to punishment, to the destruction of their lives, the law demands the extreme penalty. Yes. Vivian Hamilton is guilty. Guilty of loving her sister better even than her own life.
I'm on your surround sound system. What if does it come out of different speakers if I do this? Like if I go left and right of the microphone, does it come out of different sides of your surround sound system? Am I over here now? What about over here? Are you getting your money's worth out of this? Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Was it worth it?
Should you find the defendant guilty as charged, under the statutes of this state, the death penalty would be mandatory. But if the law is to be satisfied, then the state becomes the murderer of an innocent person, Dorothy Hamilton. If you find Vivian Hamilton guilty of manslaughter, the penalty is life imprisonment. And even then, the law cannot deprive her sister Dorothy of her rightful liberty. I believe it is a fact that the law cannot take Vivian Hamilton into custody. I cannot conceive in my mind any other verdict than not guilty. The defense rests its case.
Oh no, I just realized this is 1952. The code is enforced. Oh no, is she gonna get found guilty? Because usually under the code, if you commit crimes, you have to be found guilty of them, according to the Hays Code.
In the hands of the court.
State may proceed.
State rests.
Court will remain in session until a decision has been reached.
Definitely the burgers, Spokane Dog Man. I worked in fast food when I was in high school and college. Not fun. To be clear, even when I jokingly complain about things, I'm aware that I'm one of the most lucky humans to ever exist, that this is my job. I'm self-aware enough. I know. Thank you all for allowing this to be my job and hanging out with me. The Hays office ignored films from smaller studios.
Yes.
Good.
Oh. Thanks.
Hays Code was on its way out? Okay. I'm always bad at the time frame for the Hays Code. I don't know why. Like the early 30s to like the late 40s or something?
All right, I'll tell the judge. Court will come to order.
Because the MPAA started being a thing in like 69, right? 69 or 70, because that's around the year Night of the Living Dead came out.
The defendant will rise.
(34 to 68).
After 20 years on the bench, I can find no precedent that will help serve me as a guide in this case. Justice has two purposes: to protect the innocent and to punish the guilty. Were I Solomon, I might be given the supreme wisdom to do justice.
Funny, because Solomon told women to cut a baby in half. He was tricking them. He just wanted to see who cared about the baby. But, like, the case where you're cutting someone in half, I don't know if he's intentionally making that illusion, but kind of funny.
But as it is, I cannot pass sentence on an innocent person and deprive her of her liberty.
Okay, so they are absolutely going to let them go. Hell yeah.
Therefore, a higher court than mine must impose final judgment. You have just listened to the tragic story of the Hamilton sisters.
Was it that tragic? I mean, it's sad that, like, they got tricked, but they did get to murder the guy and got away with it. So, like, that's pretty good.
Do you still think that your problems are as great as theirs? And yet they learn to live in harmony. We all have problems. And I must confess that I, too, have a problem. Perhaps you can help me. The defense has chosen to place the entire responsibility of this case on my conscience. Had the defense chosen trial by jury, any one of you might have been selected to share this burden. And I wonder, if you were the jury, what would your verdict be?
By semi-autobiographical, do you mean they went on trial for murder? Because if it is, that's awesome.
Please help.
Not that murder's awesome. Just, that's a crazy situation.
Help me. Let me know. Help me solve my greatest problem.
When he said sent to a higher court, he was alluding to God. He wasn't literally talking about other ones. He's saying they're not guilty and only the Lord can judge them, to be clear. Well, that was something. That wasn't my favorite one we've watched, but it was interesting. Let's see, Jay's a Proxy says, I just did some quick reading. The only case I could find was a set of twins in the 1600s Italy, and the twins were not executed because it would deprive the rights of the other. I wonder if that incident became widely enough known that it became a writing trope, because I've seen that trope in, like, multiple things. The thing we just watched, it appears in Tales from the Crypt, it appears in other movies I've seen. So, kind of interesting. Do I want to do another one of these? I don't know. Kind of crime prevention. I don't, Densetsu. I'll try and find some for a special episode, 'cause that would be fun.
Business is selling merchandise, right?
Yes, it is.
That's right.
Yes, and merchandising is the way to do it. Appealing displays, easy to serve oneself. Want it.
Unfortunately, many customers take this serve yourself too literally. And about 1 of every 60 customers entering your store will want it so badly, they will attempt to steal it. The shoplifter knows the hand is quicker than the eye of an unobservant salesperson. It's the hands that do the stealing.
You need to hire security people for this. I'm not getting paid enough as a cashier or whatever to pay attention to this. Pay security people for this if you have an issue.
The amateur shoplifter may steal because she can't resist an opportunity to get something for nothing, because of need, for the thrill of it, for luxuries, for psychological reasons. Shoplifters come from all economic levels. The most active days are Friday and Saturday. Opening and closing hours and lunch hour are choice times because that's when alertness by sales personnel is usually the lowest. But who steals, why, and when they steal makes little difference to the salesperson who does the most efficient job possible. Alertness and courtesy by you are the greatest deterrents to shoplifters. And it goes without saying that protecting your store's profits enhances your opportunity.
Yeah, this is an instructional video, I think, on like loss prevention or something at a store.
Salary increases. And it directly affects you as a customer in other stores, since shopping losses are added to the price of merchandise. Here you see actual footage of a professional shoplifter at work. She is about to commit a theft. No one in the supermarket knows what is taking place. She stacks these stakes neatly, too neatly.
Keep an eye out for anyone stacking steaks too neatly.
To an unobservant salesperson, she may appear to be an average housewife.
I feel like I'm taking part in racial profiling right now.
But an alert
That lady's stacking steaks a little too neatly for my taste.
Salesperson will notice the large coat, full skirt, and big purse. These make for quick and easy concealment of merchandise.
Yikes.
Notice how easily she slips the steaks under her dress, holding them between her legs. This is one of the many methods of boosting, the professional term for shoplifting. And it's the most common technique employed by the female pro. Given enough privacy, she can make off with portable television sets, typewriters, radios, tape recorders, and small appliances just as easily.
Goddamn strong thighs.
She can steal items weighing as much as 25 pounds. She buys one or two inexpensive items to cover her presence in the store. It is folly for retail merchants to attempt to cut selling and operating costs by reducing the number of sales personnel. An adequate sales force ensures good customer service and is far less expensive than losses to shoplifters. What this shoplifter can steal in seconds will more than pay the daily wage of a good salesperson.
Sounds like you're underpaying your people.
By stealing cartons of cigarettes, this professional can easily earn
Oh my god, the cigarettes are just out. Obviously this had to have been a thing, but never in my life have I considered that they would ever just have cigarettes, just cartons of them out on a shelf like this, where anyone can just grab them.
$100 a day. She earns as much or more when working drugstores, clothing stores, hardware or discount stores. This woman represents a growing number of shoplifters who are taking advantage of the self-service store. The removal of barriers between goods and customers and the improved display techniques, which are psychologically designed to increase buying. Although the professional makes up only about 10% of those stealing from you, the dollar value of what they steal far exceeds that of the amateur shoplifter. Pros usually steal expensive items, later selling them for about half the retail price. The security chief of one large department store believes one professional
I don't think that happened until much later, Jay's a Proxy. I think that happened in, like, the 70s, didn't it? Like, there was a time period where they advertised cigarettes as healthy for you.
Is more costly than 100 amateurs, while some store managers claim the small but frequent theft of the amateur is their greatest loss. Smaller stores can't afford security personnel, and boosters know it. They are also quick to recognize sales personnel working on commission, because a stall will usually send them scurrying to a hotter sales prospect.
I'm sorry, there are people working in a supermarket who make commission? What does that even mean? Like, hey, you want some of these apples? I make money if you buy these apples. How are you making a commission at a fucking grocery store? What are you talking about?
And that's what the shoplifter wants, privacy. But regardless of who is the greatest threat to store profits, the amateur or the professional, most shoplifters can be deterred by observant sales personnel who acknowledge all customers, letting no one go unrecognized. Personnel who treat everyone as a customer. This professional will be the first to admit that the presence of an observant, alert salesperson would have sent her away empty-handed. This is the merchandise she carried out of the store.
Wow.
However, she neglected to pay for these items.
How'd she fit the
average housewife,
the steaks and the cigarettes?
does about 90% of her family shopping, and more than 85% of the nation's shoplifting. She is a typical amateur shoplifter. She may feel your store owes her something, that such a small item won't be missed. Her purchase came to $13.50. Most supermarkets operate on a very low profit margin. The theft of a 99-cent item represents a substantial loss based on what this housewife purchased. And she'll probably be back tomorrow or the next day. Don't allow empty cartons to accumulate in the front of your store. Many a request for what you think is an empty box has been prompted by the knowledge that it has been filled with your merchandise by an accomplice. Men also pull this trick, stuffing meat, cigarettes, or other items down their trousers and covering it with their shirt. Placing tags inside the wrapping can eliminate much of this.
Trouser meat.
Switching containers, putting expensive items into cartons formerly containing inexpensive items, is a popular trick. An alert cashier will notice all tears and broken seals. It's easy to slip items under her knitting. Beware of customers bringing bags, boxes, or any large container into your store. No, these slacks weren't exactly what she wanted. The green ones are. Use the check system. Make sure everything is returned. This woman gambles that a bag from another store will not be searched. It's better for the purse to be too large than too small. Wearing a rain cape on a sunny day should arouse your interest. Some shoplifters don't always hide their thefts. They merely exchange their old for your new. Here's a happy customer. Happy that the clerk wasn't alert. Didn't check inside the cooler. Unpackaged clothing should always be checked. One clerk didn't take the time. Switching pinned-on tags and tied tags gets this shopper a $25 coat for $13. Knowing your merchandise will curb this theft technique. With the aid of this clever booster box, only 2 seconds are needed to steal an expensive
look at that.
camera.
That's good. She made that shit. That's like that's a good little craft to work on.
Booster box, only 2 seconds are needed.
Make yourself a little box that you can flip open. I would never endorse anyone do anything illegal, ever, Twitch. Skifazoa says this seems more like instructions on how to shoplift, right?
To steal an expensive camera. Here is another type of booster box. It's carried by the shoplifter for the convenience of his companion. Not all packages are what they seem to be. The cleverly arranged ribbons conceal the opening in this box. Many service areas provide supervised checking facilities for their customers' convenience and for their own protection. Professionals often work in pairs. No one could be more casual than this customer, despite all the activity going on behind
Yeah, hide it right where her big butt is. That's my technique.
Often a hidden zipper allows a lifter to do her own stuffing while the partner acts as a lookout.
It's a joke, by the way. I've never shoplifted. Well, when I was like 3 or 4, I stole some runts that had fallen on the floor at the supermarket, and I got in trouble. Not since then, though.
Here is a shoplifter making her selection while her companion serves as lookout. The chosen dress is placed under her arm temporarily. She doesn't plan to carry it out. She'll wear it.
Sorry, these won't do.
That's right. She's wearing the stolen dress under her own. Clothing left in fitting rooms is easy pickings for shoplifters who just wear them over or under their own clothes. Check fitting rooms frequently for merchandise left inside. This man appears interested in a suit. His companion is even more interested. Female boosters can take 3 or 4 suits, including hangers, in one motion, holding them between their legs with comparative ease. Sometimes a partner will enter the store first, select the suits to be stolen, and put them on the end of the rack for easy identification by the confederate who will do the stealing. If a professional shoplifter can get an item between her legs without you seeing that item, she can steal it. This method can be used in any store to steal almost any item. Articles displayed on the counter's edge are easily stolen. An observant sales clerk would notice the clothing difference between mother and child, raincoat and sunsuit. This man had a profitable day. It's good merchandising to display as few articles on the counter as possible. A booster would hesitate to take a loan item since it would immediately be missed and draw attention to his presence. On a rainy day, this shoplifter simply palms the tag and walks out of the store. Stealing larger items requires more self-possession. It is estimated that 1 of every 60 customers to enter your store tomorrow will try to steal something. The key to defeating this rising tide of shoplifting lies with you, the observant store employee. Even the cleverest shoplifter cannot steal from you if you realize that quick, courteous service to customers is your primary function. Police and retail security reports reveal that the most effective solution to shoplifting is the prevention of the theft. To steal from you and your store, the shoplifter must have 2 favorable conditions: merchandise to steal and privacy to steal it. Since you are in the business to sell merchandise, you must display your wares.
E.B. Cooper really needs a new reel for his fishing rod.
Stress, therefore, must be on the reduction of the shoplifter's sense of privacy. You can do this by doing the best job of selling you can. Quickly acknowledge and serve all customers, even if you feel they are not ready to buy.
Ooh, variety
Convex
meats.
mirrors, peepholes, and observation points also eliminate...
Oh my god, what? Is that reasonable? I know that these days the equivalent would just be like a camera, but that's hilarious. You put a fucking
mirrors,
fake
peepholes, and
pervert hole? You just have to stand behind the wall and watch people?
Observation points also eliminate...
Norman Bates ass freak. What are you doing, man?
the shoplifter's sense of privacy. But 100 observation points, closed-circuit television cameras, and other electronic devices cannot compensate for good salespeople who are aware of everything going on around them. These devices contribute to the shoplifter's feeling
pick through those variety meats.
that they are being watched. But when a shoplifter spots an alert salesperson, they know they're being watched.
This is insane. At this point, just fucking put up a panopticon in the middle of the store. Like, what are you doing?
Service to customers is everything in your job. It not only increases sales, but decreases shoplifting. If you treat everyone as a customer, you will have performed your duty as an efficient, courteous salesperson. And...
Hey, this isn't a parole violation. This is efficiency. This is my duty.
Duty as an efficient, courteous salesperson. And if they are a shoplifter, you have prevented a theft. An adequate number of salespeople during busy hours ensures prompt service and prevents mass shoplifting. A uniformed guard patrolling your aisles is also a strong deterrent to stealing.
Go back to the days when the customer handed over a list and the employees brought the goods. That's just curbside delivery shopping at supermarkets that exists. Curbside pickup, rather.
Lifting preventatives.
Oh, there's the Panopticon I was talking about. I was joking, but it looks like they actually built one. Holy shit.
Include elevated sales stations for complete surveillance and therefore maximum control over your merchandise. Adequate lighting and low displays permit greater visibility. Shoplifters develop patterns for stealing. For example, a shoplifter never keeps his eyes on the merchandise. He watches you and the customers around him, waiting for that moment of privacy when he can steal.
Oh my God, it's Inspector Gadget!
They can conceal countless types of items.
Go, Gadget shoplifting!
Is the strongest preventative to shoplifting. Awareness of all customers. Knowledge of your merchandise. Serve all of your customers as quickly as possible. Even if you are busy with one customer, immediately acknowledge new customers.
I'll be with you in a moment, sir.
To a customer, those words mean courtesy. To a shoplifter, it means, I'm watching you. Never leave your section unattended. And for customers who are just looking, keep them and the merchandise in sight.
May I help you with that tow rope?
Asking this question is courteous. It also deters a shoplifter. Valuable items should be displayed out of reach. Stacks of merchandise left in stairwells, freight elevators, halls, and in the shopping area are easy prey for shoplifters. After restocking departments, all merchandise should be returned immediately to the stockroom.
Yeah, we did it!
This is a popular trick for stealing popular records. You can lose hundreds of records and other items to the magazine fan. Or you can save hundreds of records by putting them out of reach, behind glass, as this security-conscious department store did. Not all book-carrying customers are avid readers.
Oh my God, don't defile Lyndon B. Johnson's autobiography with your theft, young lady.
Don't allow empty hangers on racks.
You're here to sell things, not to get personal. Someone ought to teach you your manners. I'm going to report you to the manager.
Any distraction that draws off the sales clerk may offer an opportunity for a new shoplifter to be created.
Don't worry, he's not a shoplifter. He just intends to flash everyone.
See someone take something, the best policy is usually to make no attempt to apprehend the suspect or accuse them of shoplifting. Get a physical description, their outstanding characteristics, their dress. If possible, keep the suspect in view while notifying your superior. Your obligation may end with getting an accurate physical description and alerting your designated authority, depending upon your store's policy. You, the salesperson, can defeat shoplifting by being alert, observant, courteous, and devoting yourself to doing the best sales job you can.
That was it. That was an abrupt ending to that one.
The long night is ended.
All right. Oh, thank you everyone for hanging out with me today and watching weird stuff. Sorry you had a rough start with the one we picked initially. I promise next time I'll at least watch the first 20 minutes or so of something before I offer it up to make sure more than just the title is interesting. H-Bird says, I once did a brief gig as a secret shopper. Mainly they wanted to know how displays were arranged, and we had to pace out the size of the stores. I've always wondered if I ended up on a watch list from that. Alright, let's see who we're gonna rate on Twitch. I don't believe I will be streaming tomorrow, but I will be back on Tuesday for Tinfoil. And then, of course, the rest of the week. So, very excited for that. I hope you have a decent Monday tomorrow without me.
You like America?
But yeah, just have a good night, have a good day, and I'll see you back for some conspiracy nonsense. We will be playing bingo, so hope to see you then. Love you, Mr. Blast, and I'll see the rest of you soon. I'm gonna get some dinner or something. At least I'm gonna pee, because I've had to for a while. Woo! Bye, everyone! See you later.